Aether or Lumine, who do you play as? You might think there's not much difference between them, but Genshin actually gave them a bunch of unique touches. Here are all the cool differences between the twins that you probably didn't notice. First, their weapons aren't exactly the same. Lumine's sword has a curved crossguard, while Aether's is straight. Second, their attack patterns actually complement each other. You can tell just from their normal attacks. When Aether strikes upward, Lumine swings sideways. And when Aether goes for a horizontal slash, Lumine answers with a vertical one. Then, they even cross their strikes diagonally, perfectly in sync. Plus, Aether's taller, so he's faster on the run, but Lumine's charged attacks hit harder. Their elemental skill moves aren't the same either. Aether channels his power with his right hand, while Lumine uses her left. With their elemental bursts, Aether uses his hand to slam into the ground, showing off raw strength. Lumine, on the other hand, kicks the ground, quick, clean, and full of elegant decisiveness. In fact, Aether relies more on his arms for power, whereas Lumine channels hers through her legs. This shows up in a lot of cutscenes too. Here, Aether stops himself with his hand, while Lumine just relies on her legs to stay balanced. In a different shot, Lumine steadies one arm with her other hand, whereas Aether just uses one arm to steady himself. When pushing this slab, Lumine needs to use both hands, while Aether can manage it with just one. You can see this in their daily actions too. When standing up, Aether props himself with his arms, while Lumine doesn't. When fishing Paimon up, Aether's sitting on the rock and powering through with his arms, but Lumine's standing and using her legs to push up. More interestingly, their personalities also seem to complement each other. Aether likes things hot, Lumine prefers the cold. When Paimon asks which slime they like best, Aether goes for the pyro slime to keep warm in winter, while Lumine picks the cryo slime to beat the summer heat. Meanwhile, Lumine appears a bit more aggressive compared to Aether. Right before a fight, Aether tends to go on the defensive, whereas Lumine strikes an attacking pose. On the other hand, Lumine comes across as more cautious when exploring the unknown. Aether rarely hesitates and just goes for it, but Lumine observes first and carefully reaches out to test it. But on the road, Aether often takes in his surroundings, ready for anything or simply admiring the scenery. Lumine, however, has a clear focus and unwavering determination. She hardly ever looks around, moving straight toward her objective. Moreover, Aether seems to enjoy being around people more, while Lumine feels a bit more distant, since Aether seems to have more physical contact with other characters. Actually, other characters also treat Aether and Lumine a bit differently. Jet seems to have a special fondness for Lumine, but she just sees Aether as a close friend. Azuric once said that she prefers hanging out with girls. Moreover, at the end of her quest, Jet will only cry in Lumine's arms, while with Aether, Jet will just swallow her grief and hug him for a quiet goodbye. However, Seat Lolly is in pretty much the opposite situation. During the event, when we bring her novels, with Aether, she gets a lot more embarrassed and blushes noticeably more. Maybe Auroron wasn't entirely wrong calling Aether Gramps. More interestingly, Ningguang gives different birthday gifts to Aether and Lumine. For Lumine, she only gifts one of Liyue's finest brocades woven from silk flowers. But for Aether, she gifts a set for both him and his lost sister, wishing him to find her soon. In fact, the traveler has worn many different outfits, and Aether and Lumine each have their own distinct looks. When Walani invites the traveler to the hot springs, they change into new swimsuits. Aether sports just shorts with a high ponytail. Lumine has no new hairstyle, but she has a new leg ring. When playing Genius Invocation TCG with friends in Inazuma, Aether and Lumine have different outfits and hairstyles. When celebrating Nahida's birthday, the traveler dons a flower-themed formal outfit. Aether wears wide-legged pants, while his sister wears a dress. In the Aranyaka quest, they even wear different flower crowns. Which one do you like better? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know which part was your favorite.